Hey y'all, it's Rhegis from the MorrisMansionBlog.com. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you ways that you can update your home on a budget just by using paint. So let's start with the walls. Whether you paint an accent wall or you're painting the entire room, I really think painting walls can completely transform a space. Accent walls are kind of, I think, on their way out as far as a trend, but that's the great thing about trends in your home is you can do whatever you want. I have had accent walls in my home, and to me, nowadays, it makes the room feel unfinished, yet it may feel like the perfect pop of color in a space and be just for you and what your home or room needs. Now, my favorite trick to make your room go from maybe boring and builder grade to a completely elevated look is by completely color drenching the room. This is where you paint the ceilings, the walls, and most of the trim in the same color. And for the walls, my favorite sheen to use is an eggshell or a satin because it doesn't reflect a lot of light, so it doesn't show imperfections as much, but you can still wipe it. So if you're trying to do this on a budget, get one single can of eggshell or satin and color drench your entire room, and you'd be amazed at the transformation. Get a step further on your walls, you can use a stencil. Again, this is still using only paint, but it does require a few extra tools, but you can stencil your walls using 2 different color paints. You can do a very high contrast look. I did a sage green on the walls and used a very soft grayish. I actually mixed a custom color with snowbound and agreeable gray and made a kind of a very pale grayish color for the stencil so that it would pop against the green with that nice contrast of darker and lighter paint colors. But you can also use just a few shades darker of a color and then a few shades lighter for your stencil. Give it that kind of wallpaper effect. It is a really high-end look that is very timeless and will always age well with your home. Again, on still just painting your walls, you can water down your paint and put it on the wall in a crisscross pattern, and this can give you a faux plaster, kind of that Roman clay look. You can do this by either mixing a couple of paint colors on your brush at the same time. I've seen where people take a paint tray and they'll put some tape or foil down the middle, have 2 sides, one with one paint color, one with another. Maybe they're slightly different. They have the same, tone. And you take a wide bristle brush and you get both of the colors on the same paintbrush, and then you make a bunch of X's on the walls. You, of course, can buy real lime wash, real Roman clay, but if you want that look for less, you can do it this way. When I did this in my daughter's room, all I did was apply it with a damp rag, and I had also watered down the paint to maybe 50% paint and 50% water. You can do a color blocking technique. I did this in my son's room before we renovated it a few years ago. I put tape on the walls, made a wall treatment and a visual interest on the wall with paint. I did the color snowbound on top and the color peppercorn on the bottom. This is another idea that you can do. Or if you want to make it a little more girly, you could draw that line and then on top of that line, draw your scallops. And then you have a border or a kind of wall treatment only with paint. A lot of older homes, maybe they've had a chair rail and you just have this room painted with a white chair rail going through the room and it looks so disjointed and weird. You can break all of that up by painting lower part of your wall between that chair rail and your baseboard. For me, in my bedroom, I had this massive room that was all painted gray, and then I had this white chair rail going through the middle of it that I didn't really want to remove because I did enjoy that my eye was drawn to that height at about maybe a third above the wall, and then the baseboard was the same color. So to add a wall treatment and make it look a little more, just break up all of the gray, I just painted the in-between wall space between the chair rail and my baseboard. It instantly created the look of the whole room having a board and batten look. It added some freshness and brightness to the room with the white, and it made the space look so much different and feel a little bit more timeless and not just like a big boring gray box. My next tip for just using paint to update your home is to paint your flooring. I have painted so many floors in this house. Both of my bathrooms, I painted my primary bathroom floors and outer room floors downstairs. And I've also painted 2 outdoor spaces. Both of these were done with a stencil, but you don't have to use a stencil. You can simply paint over old tile with the right paint. The key is that you want to get the right paint for flooring so that it will last. If your tile is in good condition, you can always tile over tile. That's my plan for one day down the road, but I don't know when that will be. As long as I keep the tile in good condition, I can do that. That's an option for me. Another way you can use paint to update your home is by painting cabinetry. It is a big job to paint the kitchen with tons of cabinets, and there's definitely a way to do that. There are tons of videos on YouTube for this process. There are also small upgrades you can do. Maybe you have 1 or 2 cabinets in your mud room or your laundry room. You can paint your bathroom vanity just by updating it with paint. I actually painted my bathroom vanity last year when I redid my powder room. I'll link that video here and in the description down below if you're interested. But it's a really great budget way to update your cabinets. You can also paint your backsplash, whether you have some outdated tile, you have like a tub in a shower or your bathtub. There are kits to specifically buy that you can buy more durable paint for a shower or for like a backsplash, something that's going to be, need to be wiped down a lot or get a lot of food or water or just see a lot of wear and tear. If you have an older home and you have tile on the walls, but maybe it's a pink tile, maybe it's a blue tile, a green tile, a purple tile. You never know what you're going to find in an old home. That's part of the charm. And some people love to embrace the charm. And some people like to put their own stamp on things. And if you try and remove that, most of that is done with like cement and wire mesh, and so much damage is done to the wall trying to remove those, especially in an old home with the plaster and the lathe behind it. It's just not worth it. So a lot of people opt to paint the tile. Actually, Lone Fox used this product that you could put over the tile and it looks like a faux plaster. There are a lot of options that you can use to paint with tile. Spray paint. You can spray paint light fixtures. I have spray painted my doorknobs. I have a blog post about that. I'll link that down below. But doorknobs are expensive, and if you spray paint it in the right way, it can really last and it can give you a few more years. And as you maybe slowly upgrade them, maybe you change out a couple this month, a couple next month, you can stretch your budget by updating them now with some spray paint and then eventually replacing all of them as you go. Great on cabinet hardware. I did this in our kitchen. It does wear off if you don't use the right primer and sealer, but it's really a temporary fix, but it's a great way to update it on a budget. Another way to upgrade your things, do a contrasting color. I did this in my son's room when I added some picture rail molding, and then I painted all of the doors, all of his trim, and that picture frame molding in a contrasting color to the wall color, and it really draws your eye up. You could do this with the crown molding, you could do this with chair rail, baseboards and window trim and doors, and it really gives a classic and timeless look, and it goes with so many styles, and it's a great way to again use paint to update your space. You want to have colors that complement each other but you can still tell the difference. Those are ways that I have updated my home with just using paint. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you so much for stopping by the mansion, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.